Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is Thursday night, September the 11th. Time for the First Alert Weather Show at 9 p.m. We stream every night at 9 to get you up to date on the weather, give you another option there for your weather before you head off to bed or back to whatever else you're doing. I'm watching your comments, of course, on 14 News' Facebook page, so feel free to chime in there. I know some of you had rain out around Newburgh today and also northern Vanderburgh County. So I'm always curious to see who got how much. Looking at what we are watching, mostly sunny skies for the next 5 to 7 days. That heat is going to build up. Temperatures will return to the middle 90s, and we have an increasing risk for drought, or in a drought, but an worsening drought and an increasing fire risk out there as the foliage begins to dry out. And of course, we're already in that time of the year, the corn turning brown, ready for harvest and everything, but lots of stuff kind of tinderbox dry out there. The U.S. Drought Monitor updated today, and here in the Midwest, many areas were now included in that moderate drought classification, and that includes about the southern half of the tri-state, and we will likely see more counties tossed in there, especially if we don't get much rain here in the next week. We did add I didn't add, but counties have hoisted burn bans now. The latest is Hopkins County, so Madisonville, Morton's Gap, all the way over to Dawson Springs, entire county there, no open burning. Same goes for all the other shaded counties there. So Union, Henderson, Spencer, Warwick, Posey White, and Edwards. You know who you are. Just be really careful if you're not in a burn ban, as it's pretty dry every place out there. And it's going to be a little breezy, so you know if something gets out of control, it'll spread pretty quickly, and even careless things like leaving a grill going, flicking a cigarette out of your car, whatever it is, you could start a fire, so be very careful. The only interesting thing here in the models is the persistence of a few isolated showers. Now, we saw that very thing today out in Newburgh and also in northern Vanderburgh County, and those were the only folks that got any measurable rainfall, and that was on a 10% chance for rain. I usually scrub the 10%. I feel like that's kind of a worthless, it's kind of a hedge, you know, almost every day it'd be 10%, but occasionally we do get rain on a 10% day. Now, looking down the line here, the rest of the weeks is at 0, so I'm not expecting much rain at all. Our dew point is getting increasingly moist out there. It's coming up, making it feel a little more humid. We're at 65 right now. And looking at the next 7 days, our hottest ones should begin on Sunday and continue up into Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Our rain potential is just really, really bad. Maybe a little bit. This 1/10 of an inch would indicate some scattered or pop-up showers, kind of like what we saw today. The temperatures around the country, very warm in the west, but increasingly mild here in the Midwest. And of course, that warming trend is going to carry us into the weekend. We're still at 75 right now in Henderson, 69 in Evansville, 74 Greenville, and 69 in Fairfield. And the almanac for today, we hit 89. That's 5 degrees warmer than normal, and only got down to 63, which is pretty close to the typical. It was actually kind of cool this morning, but then this afternoon it began to get a little hotter and more oppressive. Not maybe oppressive, but humid. 89 our high today, so we still haven't cracked into the 90s. Despite forecasting 90, we got that rain near the airport, which cooled everything down. For the month, we've had 3/4 of an inch of rain at Evansville Regional. Again, some of you have had a little more than that if you were under those showers today. Temps will climb right up to about 90 tomorrow. And looking across the country, there really isn't anything that will penetrate this high pressure dome, which will block everything out over the Midwest and the Ohio valleys, which is why it's going to be dry. Our tropics are still quiet, both the Caribbean and the Gulf there, so no issues at all. And our storm chances, nil here for the tri-state. We were in brown early today for general thunder. Saturday showing a little general thunder possible, and that could come from those scattered showers we saw on the models. Down the line here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all predominantly dry with maybe a few pop-up showers on Saturday night and early Sunday. Looks like next week, late in the week, the pattern may break enough that we will have some chances for rain by Thursday and Friday. The European model is a little more, has a little more conviction here in the rain chances late next week. So this is next Tuesday, next Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, both sporting a chance for rain. 61 degrees overnight with clearing skies. The high tomorrow will climb to 90 and sunny out there. And then we have a prolonged period with 0% rain chances and temperatures in the middle 90s and well above normal temps expected now through the 21st of September, which will be the last full day of summer, and below normal precip too. Our pet pick tonight from Annalise Conaway. We have Cookie smiling. Cookie probably wants a cookie. Don't we all? I mean, why wouldn't we want a cookie? All right, let's see what your comments and questions are here. Looks like we have a few. And we said, whoops, let me go back here. Cheyenne Hammond saying good evening. Good evening, Cheyenne. Glad to have you on here. It hit 92 in Savah today. All right, you verified our forecast, Jeff Miller. Always coming in the clutch like that. Lenny Howard, nice weather. He likes it warm. All right. William Raleigh says, no rain by Bossy Field, but just east of me, there definitely was. There was. We got the outflow from those showers, and that's what brought our temperature. It went from 89 to 79 at Evansville Regional. Paula Schaefer says, good evening. And Cheyenne Hammonds, I thought we were in the burn ban. I'm not sure which county you're in, Cheyenne. I thought you were up by Vincennes, but yeah, just text him which county you're in and I can double check. But these are the counties that I had from our news department for the burn bans, all right? Been seeing more contrails out there. I know some of you have noticed those too as well. And but the question persists. Of course, there's a certain faction, certainly on the internet and around, that thinks that these are not just regular old condensation coming out of jets. There's some nefarious, plot out there to spray, but it's not, and it's just regular old heat and basically moisture in the upper atmosphere coming together to form clouds, and typically they are long cylindrical clouds that extend perhaps for many miles behind aircraft, usually jets out there. We don't really have many prop planes flying at that altitude. I guess we do. We have some of the smaller commuter planes can get up there. Cheyenne Hammonds is in Vanderburgh County. We do not have one that I'm aware of unless they issued it before I came out here. Contrails typically happen up at cruising altitude, so 25 to 40,000 feet. As the plane descends or enters into the atmosphere, which is not as moist, then you don't get a contrail. And it's quite possible sometimes a plane will produce one for a while, then not, and then again, depending on which altitude and what the quality of the air is, where the plane is. And of course, some people, your conspiracy theorists think, well, they're turning something on and off up there in the cockpit. They're not. It's simply differences in air temperature and humidity or moisture saturation up there. Now, sometimes when we get a lot of these things, and we do, there are a lot more flights today than there were, say, 30 years ago or certainly 50 years ago. And each one, if the atmosphere is right, can produce a trail, a contrail behind it. And if there's not much wind or just a little bit of wind, these can be sheared or blown into regular clouds, cirrus clouds. So they are truly man-made clouds, not for nefarious reasons, just water vapor up there like every other cloud. The cloud deck can affect the temperature on the ground by deflecting incoming sunshine and also holding in the heat at night. So it functions just like a deck of cirrus clouds would. So you can sometimes see a small swing in the temperatures. Oftentimes I'll get pictures of like a black line in the sky. What was this, and what are they up to now? It's simply put, it's usually a shadow cast by one of these contrails. If it's between the sun and another deck of clouds, you can get all kinds of wild visual effects up there. The Contrails typically are at 25 to 40,000 feet, and they weren't really observed or noticed until World War II. And at that point, we had the technology, a B-29 bomber, and I think the B-17, if the crew was on oxygen, could get up above 10,000 feet. But anyhow, this is a picture of World War II bombers there, B-29s, and they were up high enough that even those big radial, propeller engines still put out hot exhaust, which then would react with the water vapor in the air and produce a contrail, and that became a strategic liability, right? If you can see this, line going up to the bomber, it's much easier to shoot it down. And so meteorologists who worked in the signal corps at that time for the Air Force, I guess, and definitely the Army and the Navy and so on. The Air Force was called something else, I think. I can't remember what it was. Or maybe it was the Coast Guard Signal Corps. Anyway, they had to start forecasting where and at what altitude contrails would occur so the bombers could avoid that and be less detectable. And that's what we use weather balloons for, not to forecast just contrails, but to know what the composition of the atmosphere is as you climb, as you go higher and higher. Contrails occur all over the world. After all, we have the same atmosphere and generally the same aircraft around the world. There are more today than there were, say, 50 or 30 years ago because we have more flights. And as I said, they can be forecast with weather balloon data. All right, let me see if anybody else had a question here. Oh, I think that's it. No more questions. All right, well, I will let you back to what you're doing here, your Thursday night. I appreciate you watching here on 14First Alert Weather Show at 9. I will see you on 14 News at 10. Stay safe. Michael Fecka will be in here tomorrow night. Have a great weekend.